Just gather round and I'll elucidate on what goes on outside when it gets late. Long about midnight, the ghosts and banshees, they get together for their nightly jamboree. There's things with horns and saucer eyes, some with fangs about this size.
Some are fat and some are thin.
And some don't even wear their skin.
Oh, I'm telling you, brother, it's a frightful sight to see what goes on Halloween night. When spooks have a midnight jamboree, they break it up with fiendish glee. Ghosts are bad, but the one that's cursed is the Headless Horseman. He's the worst.
That's right, he's mine on Halloween night.
But when he goes a-jogging across the land, holding a noggin in his hand, demons take one look and groan and hit the road for parts unknown.
Beware, take care, he rides alone.
And there's no spook like Spooked Spur.
They don't like him and he's really burned.
He swears to the longest day he's dead,
He'll show them that he can get ahead.
They say he's tired of his flaming top. He's got a yen to make a swap. So he rides one night each year to find a head in the hollow here.
Now he likes them little, he likes them big.
Or in the middle or away.
We could listen to Bing Crosby all afternoon, or at least I could. Joining us now for this to the tail end of the show here is Tyson Sainer, who's actually done a lot of work and a lot of homework where movie analysis for the month of October/Halloween is concerned. Tyson, how are you?
Hello, everybody. How are we today?
We're fantastic. I don't know if you've got anything that can match these fourth grade letters, but you're here to prove if you do. Let's see. What do you got today?
Well, recently I was looking at the Legend of Sleepy Hollow, created by Washington Irving, but then it was the Disney version that we just heard the music from.
Right.
Has everybody seen that?
Yes, we have actually. It's one of my favorites. It's one of my kids' favorites. Has everyone seen that?
Yes.
Yes, of course.
Yes.
What?
Have you seen Disney's Sleepy Hollow? Of course she has.
The cartoon and
Okay. She's going to tell you, Tyson. You sit back and Sean will conduct the review. But anyway, you know what's interesting about it is it is a short and it's packaged with Mr. Toads, but it's something of a classic. But go ahead, Tyson, illustrate it for us.
Demonstrate? Well, I was just saying it's a great.
Give us an illustrated blueprint of the work.
Okay, well, it's basically a classic story of a school teacher who goes into town and eventually gets confronted with a malevolent spirit known as the Headless Horseman. And that's pretty much it.
It's straightforward. Actually, the book by Washington Irving is very good. I encourage people to actually pick up some literature because it's entertaining.
Absolutely, yes. Now, of course, they gave the musical presentation to the Disney version, which is quite good. It was a bit frightening when I was younger. I saw it at the age of 11 for the second time, and then I was able to watch it in class with a group of fifth graders that were the same age as me at the time and get to see what their reactions to it were. And I was always a little bit leery about the ending because it's a bit dark for a Disney feature, and I always wondered how people interpreted that ending.
I know what you're talking about. Actually, Sean has a very interesting theory about the ending of Sleepy Hollow. What did you say your theory was about the ending of this movie?
I think that what's his name? That guy?
Brom Bones.
Oh, Brom, yes.
I think he was dressed up as the Headless Horseman, and he's just driving a Ichabod crane out of town.
That's very perceptive. That did not occur to me.
Me either.
I bought on the spirit what do you call it, supernatural side that there was a Headless Horseman. I got into the whole thing.
What about the Johnny Depp one?
What about it?
Well, I liked it.
I liked it too.
Great.
I thought it was great.
I thought it was really well done. Christopher
I still need to
Walken
see
is
it. Sorry.
You haven't seen it, Tyson? You got to see it.
Not yet.
Yeah, a load of my mates and stunt guys in the UK worked on that, including the guy that rode the horse as the Headless Horseman with his special rigs that could hide his head.
Oh, fantastic.
It was really well done. And Rob Inch, his name is, a stunt coordinator and stuntman extraordinaire. Big shout out to Robbie. He actually played that Headless Horseman. He was great.
He nailed the production design on it. Perfect Sleepy Hollow. But more cowbell on that later, because that's one of Tyson's films to review later on in the month. So we will come back to the Tim Burton version. You know, we've had some people who've worked with Tim Burton on the show. We're going to incorporate them as well. But it is interesting. Sean's theory is that Brom Bones was chasing Ichabod out of... You know, Ichabod's kind of a devious character, though. He sees himself as, like, moving in on the old man's farm. The wheat, there's that montage where the wheat turns into gold, and he's kind of seeing himself in a sort of as like an opportunist. So I thought that, you know, the Headless Horseman picked him out because he wasn't such a great guy and went after him. What do you say about that, Sean?
I think it was just that. I think it was just Ron Bones because Katrina really liked Ichabod, but Ron Bones really liked Katrina, so he wanted to marry her and just get Ichabod out of the picture.
Okay, that's good. Miss O'Coulomb, do you have a take on the
I just remember getting really freaked out watching it as a kid.
Really?
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah, really freaked out.
Go ahead.
I remember the music.
It's not typical Disney,
No,
you know.
no.
I'm sorry, Tyson, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say it's a fantastic chase scene in that film, a wonderful animated chase scene that goes on for a lot longer than I remember it as a young person. It was funnier this time around. Apparently I wasn't as perceptive to Ichabod's faults at the time, or I hadn't really picked up on the allusions to all that stuff, but definitely as an adult when I watched it again, I was like, oh yeah, he's definitely not as sympathetic as I remember him.
No, he's not. He's not. In fact, you know, different people have played him, from Johnny Depp to Jeff Goldblum, and they all kind of play him in different ways. But in this particular version, which Bing Crosby handles the narration and all the personalities, he's far from... You know, it's interesting, on a production note, it's not a criticism, but that is a double packaged production. It's with Mr. Toad, which in Disney had Basil Rathbone do the narration for Mr. Toad and Bing Crosby do Sleepy Hollow, or the Headless Horseman. But I wonder if they had reversed it, where if Basil Rathbone was the voice for the Sleepy Hollow, because Basil Rathbone is more of that kind of, you know, type actor, you know, supposed to, you know, versus Bing Crosby doing Mr. Toad. And but I mean, it's still a classic. That's not a criticism per se. It's just an idea.
No, it's fantastic because it may have made it. The presentation may have not come off as light throughout if it had been, I guess, had a more sinister cast from the beginning of it. There's another classic Halloween film that's cartoon. Anybody see Garfield's Halloween Adventure? That was a big one when I was growing up. All about the candy for that one. Candy.
I think I may know what you're talking about. Mark Ryan looks completely baffled.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I'm going to have to... Symmetrical book stacking. No, Mark doesn't.
Garfield wasn't big in the UK when I was a kid, so, you know, that all of this kind of stuff that is stock child, you grow up with it. We never grew up with that stuff.
Or the Great Pumpkin, or any of those?
Well, of course, the Great Pumpkin. I mean, come on. You can all identify with the one idiot who stayed in a pumpkin patch versus go out and actually get the loot. I mean, talk about, you know, just a magnet for sympathy. It's like we all had a friend like Linus, a kid who probably had his blanket along a little bit longer than he should have, but really, you know, we also had a friend like Charlie Brown, and most of us knew a pig pen, unfortunately. But, you know, it's like Charlie Brown gets the rock. You know, he doesn't. He actually has the most innovative ghost costume with 1,000 eye holes cut in it.
The Swiss cheese ghost costume, yes.
He still gets rocked, basically. And then Linus decides to bait Charlie Brown's sister to spend the night in a pumpkin patch. And I don't know where the parents are to any of these kids.
Well, you know, if they're always... I guess that means, yes, I'll go stay out in the pumpkin patch. At least he brought a blanket.
Which is another sort of way of saying that parents and kids do not communicate well. Teachers, you know, which is not the case with you, Miss O'Coulomb. I know firsthand. You're held in very, very high regard.
Thank you.
But it is hilarious. So I would have to say, yeah, I'm surprised we didn't get on the Great Pumpkin, because that is a good recommendation.
Those are wonderful pieces written by the children. I really enjoyed those.
Yeah, I'm impressed with this class too.
Smart class. Good.
I'm impressed with the teacher as well.
I'm impressed with the teacher, everybody. All
Shaping
right.
the minds of young for the future leaders of tomorrow.
It's so important.
Yes.
It's so important.
Your road to redemption is paved with tombstones. No quarter, kill all masters. Go to noquarterkillallmasters.com. Rated R.